Peace, everybody. I'm back. A new week, a new episode of The Breakdown. This is where I deconstruct the rhymes of the songs from my new album, A Subtle Reminder, produced by Sharp Cuts. You can get it on malls.bandcamp.com. I will have a link in the description below this video. You can also get it on all your streaming services, your Apple Music's titles, or whatever. This week, we are doing Zaire 74 featuring Precyce Politix. So this will be a relatively short video, should be a relatively short video, considering that this is a relatively short song. It's one of those back and forth joints where Precyce and I go line for line, and those are some of my favorite songs to write. And those are some of my favorite songs that I've done. Just the ones where him and I, and even the ones where him, Sharp and I are going all line for line, kind of weaving verses and lines in and out with each other. The beat was probably in one of the latter beat packs that Sharp sent me. The song was written in late August. Actually, it was written around this time last year. It was around August 27th. I do have my rhyme pad here. So yeah, August 27th is the date. You can see that if it's not too much of a glare. So yeah, it was written around this time last year, which is crazy to think that the album's been out a couple of months and like I have songs on it that was just written a year ago. When I heard the beat, I loved it. It was just real smooth and it was just really cool. And it made me think of those black exploitation movies from the 70s. Like it would be a lounge scene in one of those black exploitation movies. That's how I kind of initially thought about how we should go about writing to this beat. I didn't have a set topic. When Precyce and I get together, especially when we're doing these line for line songs, we're just going. It's whatever comes to us at the moment. So being that I was in this like smooth mindset already, I started the rhyme off. Whenever we write these songs, we're like, okay, who's gonna set it off? And then I always say, okay, well, let's just write first lines and then we'll see which line sounds better starting it off. But this time I decided I'll go ahead and set it off since it's going on my album. So having that smooth, Superfly Willie Dynamite imagery in my head, I started out kind of smooth and easy. So my lines were top down with the seat back, tunnel vision mission, I don't listen to the feedback. Just something to ease you into what's about to happen. And so Precyce wrote his rhymes and we do a lot of checking in, so he was like, how you think this sound? And so he came in and it was just aggressive. And Precyce is known for rapping more aggressive, especially more aggressive than I normally do. So I don't know why I would expect anything less when I didn't specifically tell him, hey, we're going to be cool on this. But again, we are just flowing and whatever's coming out is coming out. So, he just came in, you lower humans, keep that, and just had a wild line about, filleting yourself on social media. So I was like, okay, since that's how he's coming with it, we're just going to go ahead and bash this out. We're going to kind of treat it as a Bash Brothers song and just be aggressive, And so that's why, when his section ends, he says, Bash Bro, handle sound divine when you speak that. So I like to rhyme my first words with his last words just to make it sound, just to give it that continuity and make it sound fluid, even though we're going back and forth. So his last words were speak that. So I said, see that? The jab is quick, the uppercut will punish you. With Bloodsport champions, you jockeying for number 2. So the jab is quick, the uppercut will punish you. My opening line was the jab, it's the setup punch. And then the uppercut, he came with the knockout blow. I just came in smooth, and then Sice just, put him down Tyson style. So I'm like, the jab is quick, the uppercut will punish you. With Bloodsport champions, which is going back, referencing the Bash Brothers album, Bloodsport Champions, and his song, Bloodsport Champion, from See Where I Find You. So I said, with Bloodsport Champions, you jockeying for number 2, portrait of an artist only did what he wanted to. Again, being that we're in that building on top, that kind of just like how improv is when you're doing improv, it's yeah and. So you're adding on to it. So when I said Portrait of an Artist only did what he wanted to, Precyce comes in with Van Gogh, one ear covered, drop on the 1 and 2, because the famous story of Van Gogh cutting off his ear for the one that he loved. Going back with rhyming with his last thing, so 1 and 2, I come in with running through these lines like Bo Jackson in his prime. Find a better combination. Know that motherfucker lying. I am first ballot, rendering y'all invalid. Thor with his mallet mixed with Dolly with the palette. Just rhyming off of his last words and running through a line like Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson running through defense, running through his offensive line and your defensive line like he was unstoppable. So I'm running through the line like Bo Jackson in his prime before the hip injury. Find a better combination on that motherfucker line. Like, I've heard from various people that Precyce and I, our chemistry on music, on songs, is crazy. And the wild thing is, as many songs as we have together, I don't believe we've ever performed any of them together on stage at one time, which is wild. As many shows as we've done together. So just saying that chemistry that Precyce and I have, like, there's not a better combination going than Precyce and I. So I am first ballot, rendering y'all invalid. So I'm first ballot Hall of Fame. Thor with his mallet, Thor has his hammer Mjolnir, mixed with Dali with the palette, Salvador Dali with his, palette for his paints. Mixing a couple of my favorite things, comic books and art. Precyce using the same tactics I do, where he's rhyming with my last word, and I say palette. He says, I don't need the automatics, still touching with the semi-spray. And he goes into his bars. And so his last line was, you was never tough, used to come and roof your ball, which, basically saying when y'all was kids, you brought your ball and, we just threw it up on the roof so you couldn't get it. Some real bully shit. And that's kind of what Bash Brothers is really about. Like, we're nice on the mic, we're the road warriors. We just come in, wreck shop real quick, and we get out. You was never tough, used to come and roof your ball. So on that same energy, I said, stare you down like, who was y'all? I ain't never heard of you. Balls splash your chest like Peter protesting furriers. As a common courtesy, kneel before your masters. Test bash, you got no shot like anti-vaxxers. If we roping your ball, we look at you like, what the fuck you gonna do? Who is you supposed to be? I ain't never heard of you. Balls splash your chest like Peter protesting furriers. So that's a line referencing, I don't know if they still do it now, but there was always these things on TV. I don't know if it actually happened or if it was just stuff that would happen on TV shows where someone would come out wearing a fur coat, even if it's faux fur, wearing a fur coat, and then animal rights activists, specifically PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, would throw a bucket of red paint on it. So splash your chest, like PETA protesting furriers, and furriers are the people who actually make the fur coats. And so then I said, as a common courtesy, kneel before your masters. Test dash, you got no shot like anti-vaxxers. So I feel like that line is self-explanatory, especially in the past, 3 years. So piggybacking off my last line, Precyce comes back in, infected with the knowledge, sick enough to know what matters. He ends that section with never had a father to his style like the mother rappers. And so this is kind of where we're taking it home. I break from my normal tradition of rhyming with his last words, since this is kind of this is where we're doing our big section of bars, to just kind of bring it home. So I say, I can't relate to these content creators. I make music for a purpose for wandering soul searchers, and never understood why people focus on the haters, because the best version of Malls will always be the latest. Weight us against your top 10. I promise this is heavy. So it's just my philosophy, right? Like, you have a lot of rappers and musicians in general, and this is just the times that we're in, where they're a rapper, they're a singer, they're whatever they are, whatever music or medium that they make their art through. You have to also be a content creator. And there are some people who, they make way more funny videos that have nothing to do with music than you actually see them making or at least releasing music. which is sad that you have to do that, right? Like if that's just part of your personality, you would be doing that anyway. That's cool. But there's a lot of rappers that are out there just making these funny videos and to get traction and to keep engagement up. And I understand the game that has to be played. I just hate that you have to play that game now. So, and I, even though I'm doing it, I still can't relate to it because there's so much more I could be doing with my social media, as far as like trying to raise engagement. So I can't relate to these content creators. For me, the number one thing is the music. I make music for a purpose, for wandering soul searchers, for people like me, you know, people who are dreamers, who have their head in the clouds, so to say, and then never understood why people focus on their haters. And that's just always been a thing that I have. Like you have people that spend more time talking about their haters and the people who are detracting than talking about the people who support them, the people who, you know, root for them and cheer for them, you know. And it's just weird to me. Like, okay, whether you have haters or not, why even waste your energy on that? And why not just talk about the people who are there for you? And then I say the best version of Malls will always be the latest. Wait us against your top 10. I promise this is heavier. So I feel like I get better with each song I write, with each album I release. And when someone asks me, what is your best album? I always will give them the newest one. It's the best one. It's a culmination of everything I've done before up till now. So the best version of me is always going to be this new version. And the next album that I put out, I'm going to say it's better than this one. So my last line is, wait us against your top 10. I promise this is heavier. And then I let Precyce get the last line, and we just let it ride from there. And I really thought that we were going to kind of keep going. But after we did the whole thing, I felt like we both felt like we really don't need to say anything else. So we went and we recorded it, and that was it. Like, it was really quick to record. We kind of both did it. We couldn't do it in one take because, you know, one microphone and two of us. So we just did line and he did, and then we just kind of jumped in and recorded it that way. But we didn't have to go back and redo anything over. So it took really quick. It was really quick to record it. It was really quick to write it. And it's a really quick song, but it's still effective because it is one of the top 5 songs, most popular songs on that album is Zaire 74. And I've heard a lot of people say that they really enjoy when Precyce and I go back and forth. So there it is, man. Zaire 74. Also, the reason why the song is called Zaire 74, there's not really a real science behind it. I'm a sports fan as well. You know, I love basketball. Most of y'all know I'm a basketball fanatic. I do love boxing, even though I don't keep up with it as much as I should. I love Muhammad Ali, and his fight against George Foreman was in Zaire, Kinshasa, Zaire, which is now the Congo, in 1974. And it was just this big championship fight and a legendary fight. So I say, hey, you're getting 2 soon-to-be, what I like to think is soon-to-be legendary rappers and a soon-to-be legendary producer on the song. We're going to name it after, or I'm going to name it after something legendary. So it's Zaire 74. And that's the breakdown of Zaire 74, man. So appreciate you watching this video the whole way. Be sure to like the video. Tell me what you think about Zaire 74 in the comments. If you love it, if you hate it, you know, put your friends on, everything. A subtle reminder is out everywhere you can get music. Your Apple Music, your Spotify's, your Tidal. But if you're a real one, you will get it from malls.bandcamp.com. Once again, I will have a description, the link to this album in the description below the video. I still have CDs available. So this is not the last one. Catch that, you know what I'm saying? Art by DJ Jazz Pants. And it will come with some extra goodies if you download it or buy the CD from Bandcamp. I might sneak a little couple extra goodies in the package to send along with the CD if you cop the CD. So I appreciate all the support. We'll catch you next Monday. Peace.